Hey guys, if you're enjoying the content that I'm making, please click that subscribe button. Also remember to click that bell button and make sure to tick that box to send all notifications so you don't miss out on any videos. With that in mind, let's get on with the video. What's up guys, welcome to Munchkins Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkins logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. And in this video, we're going to be talking about Celeste's Lost Chapter. This is the new Lost Chapter that we have just received here in the global version of the game. So without further ado, let's start this video. So as always, we'll start off with the weaknesses, resistances, and abilities of the boss. So this is the SL Turbo, which has weakness to ice and water and has resistance to earth-based attacks. As for its abilities, it has access to Magitech Beam, which is a single target brave magic attack, SL Beam, which is a single target brave magic attack, and the potency increases with consecutive use. Next up, it has Boost Tackle, which is also a single target, but this time a melee brave attack, and has a turn rate increase when it is used consecutively. Next, it has Hyper Beam, which is a single target brave magic attack, Hyper Tackle, which is a single target melee brave attack, which also has a high turn rate. Next, it has Charge Tackle, which grants itself an attack up, speed up to itself, and is also a single target melee brave attack. Next, it has Magitech Scatter Beam, which is a group brave magic attack. Next up, it has the Magitech Laser, which is a single target HP magic attack. And finally, it has Volley, which is a single target brave magic attack plus HP attack. It's also important to note that it has a low resistance to the poison, paralysis, melee resist down debuff, and has a high resistance to the speed down debuff as well. Alright, so now that we know the abilities, weaknesses, and resistances of the boss, it's time to take a look at some general tips and guide. And as always, my first tip for you guys is to save about 70 to 80% of your abilities for the last boss. There is only one boss here, so it does have a lot of HP, so just make sure you have some abilities saved up, because it can be a long battle depending on your party composition. The next tip for you guys is obviously to bring in the boosted characters or the synergy characters such as Celeste, Onion Knight, and Papalymo. However, if you do not have all these characters, some of the characters you may consider bringing are Squall, Tidus, Cloud, the Warrior of Light, Beatrix as well. Noctis can do so-so. Faris is a good one. You can take advantage of the boss's weaknesses to water, and of course you can put a debuff on as well. Cater does the same thing with the weakness of the boss. Realm I put here in case you are planning to bring a summon that is effective against the boss. Edgar, because obviously this is a machine, so he can do a pretty decent amount of damage. Ramza, if you have his EX. Laguna can do debuffs. Snow can tank and take advantage of the boss weakness. Lael for if you want to do the chase team. You got Garnet as well, which you can use her water abilities, and if you have her EX, that's extra damage. Vaughn, and of course Prish is here if you do have her EX. She's a monster right now. As for the healers slash brave battery options, you have an option between Caitlyn, Selphie, Yuna, Lilithset, and Aerith. And I still put Y'shtola here even though the boss is still resistant to the earth element, but she can still do a pretty decent amount of brave battery. As for the summon, I did put Ifrit here, obviously because it is my favorite summon. You do have an option with Bahamut, Shiva, and Leviathan as well if you want to. Okay, so now let's take a look at some general tips and guides for the fight itself. Now, Honestly guys, I'm really grasping at straws here. There's really not much I can tell you or any real tips because this boss is quite simple, but I'll try anyway. The first one I have here is the ult attack. Actually, the boss only has one ult attack, and you know it's going to be the Magitech Scatter Beam, so you know that it's going to be a group Brave magic attack. Just make sure that you do have Brave for this, and just try to avoid getting broken by it, or you will definitely pay for it. Next up is having a tank will actually save you from constantly being broken, obviously with your other characters, because honestly they don't really have that much of a defense, and if you can provoke, even if your tank gets broken, at least it'll just keep repeating it on the same character, and sometimes if they are already broken, at least they don't get pushed back any further. So just something to think about. It's not essential to have a tank in this fight, but if you are having troubles, then having a tank may actually help you out. Next up is for your summon. You can use your summon as soon as possible. There's really no reason for you to hold back in this particular fight. I mean, even if you summon in between the Accel Beams or the Boost Tackle, it'll still keep doing it until it gets to the max. So I don't see any reason to actually hold back. Just do as much damage as you can. And finally, my last real tip for you guys is actually to use debuffers to debuff the boss. This may help you reduce the damage you're taking, plus it can actually add up to the damage that you're doing. So depending on the debuffs that you use, the boss doesn't actually have any immunity, so you can apply as much debuffs as you want, but the most important one I think are those attack and defense down debuffs. Okay, so now finally let's take a look at some possible party compositions that you may bring for this lost chapter. Of course, the first one is going to be the synergy characters or the boosted characters, which are Celeste, Papalymo, Indy, Onion Knight. I added Squall here for the support so that you can get through the early stages of the fight with Squall. Honestly, there is a mini boss here, which is the third wave, but you can summon Squall straight away and just get rid of all the mobs. It just saves you the turns, but you can definitely bring any other support. Next up is Vaan, Cait Sith, and Papalymo with the Lael support, as you guys can see for this fight. Now, this is actually not the most optimal party compositions. Honestly, I don't really want to go with the full meta, so I just like playing around with my party compositions. I got really tired of using Selphie, so I decided to use Cait Sith here, but you can definitely swap out Cait Sith with Selphie as well. Vaan does a decent amount of damage, and obviously Papalymo is a beast at the moment, especially with his Astral Fire attack up. So yeah, Lael, I mean, you can definitely replace Lael here with any other support characters that you want. I just like that, having that chase possibility, I suppose. I mean, it does give me the extra score whenever I do the chase sequence, so I thought I'd just bring Lael, but you can definitely switch it out with someone else. Next up is just going to be the DPS Cait Sith Selphie combination with DPS support. Basically the meta of the game right now, and honestly you won't fail if you do have these characters, unless you really just go all out, use all your abilities without a care in the world, but even then I think you'll still be able to beat it in the end. But in any case, the last one I have here is probably where the meta is heading, which is the chase team. So the chase team basically is just gonna revolve around Lael with Cait Sith and maybe even Selphie. You can switch either or, plus you can have another DPS as well. It's all going to depend which one you like. As long as Lael is in that team, that's basically a chase team. As long as Lael I suppose I could say is as long as Lael and a Brave Batteries in the team is going to be a chase team, and you probably want Pandemonium as your summon for this one. And so we have pretty much come to the end of this video, but of course I want to give you guys my final thoughts on this fight. Well, I actually didn't find this fight that difficult. Even just bringing like non-boosted characters, I do believe that you can beat this as long as you have a decent Brave battery. Now, in saying that, obviously you guys see me using Cait Sith. He is really part of the meta right now and probably one of the best characters to have, and for the simple fact that you can actually get him as soon as you just cleared the interlude, then you know, it just makes things a lot easier. But obviously we don't have access to his weapons right now, but if you have Cait Sith, I would just completely recommend bringing him. If not, you can use Selphie as well. As for other Brave batteries that I mentioned earlier, you know, the next one I would say maybe Lilith Set I really like, even though without her level 60 awakening yet. She does have a lot of debuffs that you can apply on the boss, which makes it a lot easier to take it down. And Sap is one of the best debuffs that I can, you know, can really imagine. But honestly, I didn't really found this fight that difficult. So, but again, if you guys are having difficulties, you're more than welcome to leave down in the comments below, and maybe I can sort of help you make up your party composition to help you clear this through and hopefully get you that 200k score. Now, I know I only give out a few examples, but honestly, this video would be so long if I recommend you every single character or just every single compositions. And not a lot of people, well, if you're a new player, will have access to all the characters anyway. But in any case, I think I'll end the video right here. So remember to click like, subscribe, and share this video if you find it helpful at all. As always, I would like to hear from you guys. Which team did you use to beat this Lost Chapter? And of course, for those people who are struggling with the Lost Chapter, or if you're a new player, leave them down in the comments below, and I'm sure a lot of my followers or subscribers who leave down in the comments will give you a bit of a hand. Actually, they're pretty constructive with their replies, and obviously their criticism of my videos as well. I always take into account what you guys think of my videos, so I just want to get better, you know, as a creator. And so I'll leave it right here, and oh, make sure to follow me on Twitter and on Facebook at Munchkins Gaming. This is Munchkins logging off, and I'll see you guys in the next level.